If Photoshop was a distortion plugin, this would be it. We're taking a deep dive into Motion Harmonic, a new distortion plugin from Excite Audio. Let's go. Guys, this plugin is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't know what to tell you about compared to Photoshop because it does so many stuff that it's just ridiculous. And you're gonna see why I'm saying Photoshop in a second. But first, this is Motion Harmonic, a distortion plugin from Excite Audio, and it's pretty new. Let me show you around. Motion Harmonic here on the text, actually, that's a bypass button. I don't know why they didn't put it here on the logo. I would have preferred that instead and make it a little bit obvious that it's a bottom right there. I don't know why they put it on the title, but you know, it's something that I would change in the overall UI of this plugin, but it's there. It's a bypass if you click on it. Here you have, of course, the all the presets, which is a lot. Believe me, it has so many stuff. Bass, creative, drums, evolving guitar, simple paths, vocals. Now here on the bottom, you have the settings. That's for extra control here, macros. Actually, here you have audio input, audio output. This is a VU meter, and this right here, this little shield, if you activate it, that's a limiter, so you don't go above 0 dB ever. So you don't have to worry about you know, clipping in a bad way in the digital sense with this plugin, which is nice. They included that. The real deal comes when you click on this. Now here you're gonna have all the effects. Now I'm gonna go here to the corner because I need to disable this. These are the graphics. I'm gonna disable so you can actually take a look at the view on all the effects. This has Bitcrush, distortion, peak filter, and a high pass filter and low pass filter. Right to the left of those modules, pretty much, for effects, you can enable and disable them at pleasure. So you can have whatever you want from those, and you can disable all of them, and that's what it looks like. To the right of those, you're gonna get this low and high parameter right there, which is a selector of the frequency that you want to affect. So notice that as I'm moving this, the shape is actually changing on the left. So it's a visual representation of what you're actually doing. Now, if you hover over any of them, you're gonna start seeing the classic symbol for drag and drop. So the way the plugin works actually is via those nodes. The plugin is made in a sense that you can perform the exact effects that you want. For example, Bitcrush, if I put it here to number 2 and I put distortion to number 1, for example, we can actually move the cursor, and that's going to give me more or less of those effects. You're going to get more of Bitcrush or more of distortion depending on what you want. You can only have one of those parameters in one of those nodes at a time, but you can have as many parameters, individual parameters like this in each node, as many as you want, right? If you only want to use one node, that's up to you. You can definitely do that. Now, let me give you a rundown of this menu that pops out as soon as you drop something into the nodes. This is actually the minimum amount that it's going to apply and the maximum amount that it's going to apply in the slider. More closer to the center, you will have less, of course. Now, the maximum you can set it up to, for example, 80%, and the minimum to 20-something%. That's up to you. That's a super flexibility that they give you there. You can delete all mappings, and that's fine. Perfect. So I don't have anything on any of them. You're going to see there white dots. If you add anything to one of them, it's going to change the colors pretty much, and that's going to be in orange now, noting that there's something there already. So Bitcrush here, distortion to number 1. Let's play with this one really quick. Let me show you guitar harmonics that I have here that I think it's pretty cool. So let's take a listen to this. Before. gonna put here on the Bitcrush, I'm gonna add all of them at the same time. I'm gonna add the bit depth, sample rate, bit dynamic, and bit mix, all of the Bitcrush in number 2. And in number 1, I'm gonna have also the character, the dynamic, and why not the frequency. Now it sounds like this. And only 2 effects, guys. That's Bitcrush and Distortion. I'm not even using all of them. Let me give you a rundown of what the main attraction is on this plugin. We're gonna move to this. The main attraction, and the reason I say Photoshop, this is like Photoshop in a Distortion plugin, is because of this whole cursor and hexagon going on right here. So from the top, select, it's gonna allow you to actually take a look at whatever is on each node right there, right? And apply specifically the amount that you want, and that's not gonna move, right? So this is more hands down, dialing the specific effect that you want, no movement whatsoever. And you can do that for all the nodes. The next one, it's gonna be attract. Attract is the main one that you're gonna open the plugin and gonna find yourself with. Attract is like a magnet. So if you move, it's gonna attract it to the center of the mouse. The range is gonna give you a bigger circle of effect, pretty much. The strength is gonna give you how much of that effect is gonna be applied to those nodes. The hold and the release, it's exactly that. How much time it's gonna hold that effect, and when you lose it, how fast it's gonna come back to the original position. On the path here is the Photoshop part, really. You can literally draw lines with this stuff. Now, let me select this shape. It has 2 shapes. It has a line and a circle. Add and delete. Those 2 are the ones that you're gonna use to draw path. And that means that you can now draw a path literally throughout the plugin, however you want. And now if you click here on the play on the timeline, that's actually gonna move. Now I'm gonna make it slower so you can actually see what it's doing. And if you click here on select, you can select those nodes and create curves just like Bezier curves on Photoshop. And guys, this is just ridiculous. If you tell me this doesn't look like Photoshop to you, now I don't know in what planet you're living right now, but this is so much like Photoshop that it's just ridiculous. If you want to delete any of those points, you can do so with this one, with the delete one, and then you can resize all of them. If you click here, you can resize that shape and move it around and do whatever you want with that shape. Now, I'm gonna delete that whole path. I'm gonna move to this other shape. I'm gonna create it here. I'm gonna create a circle right there, right? I'm gonna resize it. I'm gonna put it in the middle. And I'm gonna create this kind of shape. If I want to, I'm gonna hit play. Here on the timeline, you see that I have play and it's moving constantly to the right clockwise doing that. Now that's to the right. If I wanted to go to the left, the other way around, I just click here, super intuitive. If I wanted to go back and forth, this is for you. Here, if I disable this, that's gonna stop it from repeating itself. So if I click on it, it's gonna repeat forever. It's gonna create a loop. And on the actual timeline, I can make it slower and then faster, or accelerating pretty much, right? And then go slow and then goes accelerating until the end. And I can do this kind of shape. And I can create even more points. That's gonna sound like this. Pick filter, for example. If I leave it into the middle, that you can see that, squiggly line with an arrow, that's actually gonna make it follow the exact audio that is coming through. So it's gonna be following that shape of that audio and activate based on that alone. So I can drop all of them right there. Now that's ridiculously awesome, guys. Right there, I'm gonna activate the bit crush and the distortion, and I'm gonna select again here. I'm gonna give it a little bit less. I'm gonna delete that path. Gonna add just a little bit of distortion and a little bit of bit crush. See how that sounds like. Now, the final thing I wanted to show you here on the path is that you can record also a path for it. So let's do that really quick here. Record a path, and this is what I'm gonna do. Create a crazy shape right there, and then hit stop. Now, if you don't want to have that, you can just trim it this way and trim the back end of it right there. And you can just go here and trim that off. Now, let me show you something really, really cool. I added one 808 paper to the 808, and now, before it sounded like this. Which is a pretty decent 808. I really like that sound. But now if I activate it, it sounds like this. That turned that 808 into a mean 808. Guys, the sky is the limit with this kind of plugins. This is why I'm enjoying the most lately. Instead of buying compressors and EQs and all this stuff, get your main effects in order, right? The stuff that really works all the time. And then invest in plugins like this, creative plugins that give you the extra edge when it comes to creative decisions on how to manipulate sound, because stuff like this, distortion, bit crush, all this stuff that this plugin can do are really, really useful in the studio. I know it's a super long video. I didn't want it to make it this long, but these are the plugins I'm enjoying lately. And if you're new to this channel, remember to subscribe, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any other video from us. And until next one, guys, don't stress, do your best, be blessed, forget the rest. See you in the next video.